right, next up is Mac to give us our youth protection training for the year. You ready, Mac?
All right, good afternoon. I know you were looking forward to this today. You know, youth protection is something that we all have to take seriously, and it's one of those things that we all are, at one point in time in our lives, entrusted with the care of our youth. How many of you are also members of other organizations where you deal directly with young people? Okay. And it was fortuitous also that, you know, the judge came up here and talked about the Key Leader Weekend that's coming up, because it's very important that we understand what we are responsible for if we're going to be participating in that event, because there's a lot of direct, you know, connections with those young people while we're out there. So bear with me as we go through this. I've tried to pare it down a little bit because I know we've done this a number of years in a row now, and the majority of you have been through this, and you pretty much know, especially if you have been with other organizations, you have your own, youth protection training. I know that in Boy Scouts it's something we have to do every year or two through Safeguarding Youth. 90 minutes of sitting through a video and answering questions and so forth. So I'm going to reduce that quite a bit today. But hopefully you'll get something out of it, and it may be enlightening. There we go. All right, so let's start off. Who is more likely to be the subject of child abuse, boys or girls? Raise your hand if you think it's boys. How many think it's girls? Boys. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. Okay, number 2, true or false? Most child abuse is found in lower income households of non-white families. That is correct. True or false? Most abusers are complete strangers. Looks like I've been through this before. Never report suspicions of child abuse unless you have solid proof in order to avoid legal complications. Absolutely. And finally, it's never appropriate for adults to text, email, or otherwise contact youth without at least one other adult being involved. Absolutely. Okay, so these are some of the real basics as far as knowing a little bit about the background of youth protection. It is our priority, okay? So why? We need to know a little bit about the issues facing our youth, the best practices, and not only for youth safety, but working with the youth. Our goals: protect the youth from predators. And that's the least offensive word we can use for the individuals who go after our young people, is predator. Provide youth with skills and tools designed to inspire and engage future leaders to be their best. That's a really big function of the Key Leader Weekend. And empower and educate adults with their best practices when working with youth. How many SLPs are supported by our club? Any idea? If you ask the judge, every time you turn around, he's added a new one. So we've got 14 K kids right now in the elementary schools. We have 6 builders clubs. That's our middle school. We've got 4 high school key clubs. And we've got 1 action club. SLP is student leadership programs. I'm sorry. Yep, thank you. So our student leadership programs, and you can see there is kind of a progression. We try to get our kids hooked in the elementary school and be getting service back to the community, becoming kind with one another, doing good things for one another. And we try to build that whole practice all the way up through high school. And then the only thing that's missing from this list is our Circle K, which is the college and university level. We've had a little bit of difficulty trying to get that to stick. But the whole idea is to get them hooked into community service and then move forward on up through adulthood. And while we do it, we try to keep them protected. And we've already talked about how many of you are already interacting with them individually, okay? All right, so we're going to talk about abuse and its effect, safety practices, interaction guidelines, and the ABCs. So, 1 out of 5 girls report child abuse. 1 in 13 boys. Here's where they meet them: at camp, at school, at home, sports programs, on the internet, and other organizations. This is what's scary. 29% are abused by a family member. Only 11% by complete strangers. And 60% is somebody else that the youth knows through some other connection. Especially online, a lot of times these predators will try to convince the person on the other end of their social media that they are also a youth. And somehow these guys are able to finagle it in there from the very first contact. They're trying to feel them out, trying to find out what it is that will get them engaged so that they can have more interactions with them. And then they try to take that conversation and that interaction offline so that they can have more personal connections. And 80% are known to their victims. How many have heard of grooming? It's not just, chimpanzees or whatever, or birds, grooming each other. This is where they're actually trying to get the youth involved and to get them to be malleable and to become more comfortable with what they're trying to do. A lot of times they'll bring in magazines or other things, they'll talk about different kinds of games and so forth to get them to begin to interact with them and to want to do more. And then they try to get them isolated. This is where you have to be real careful, like I know in Boy Scouts we have 2 deep leadership. You never have a one-on-one with any youth. Always have to make sure that you have someone else that's there, that they can not get into the situations where they're isolated from one another. That's another thing that's scary. Because a lot of times you feel a little bit guilty and you think, well, they didn't force me to do this. This is something that I really wanted to do too, and that's part of the grooming process. Abused youth may think that it's their fault. They might feel guilty, confused, can't trust anybody. They lose interest in other activities. They become kind of self-absorbed and getting away from other people. They have very high mood swings, and they act out. Now, it's not just adult on youth. A lot of times there's peer and peer-to-peer abuse. So we want to be able to identify these behaviors, monitor them, report when we see it, think there's an emergency, etc. See something, hear something, say something. A lot of times we think it's okay, or we're not really seeing what we think we're seeing, But even when we're not sure, it's better to go ahead and err on the side of caution. If we think that there's somebody that's getting hurt or is about to get hurt, we need to make sure that we step in and stop it. Call 911, or if you have some other contact, get a hold of them. When we're at a Key Leader Weekend, Judge Nicholas, guess who gets to get contacted first about something? You get to give the heads up and let them know that you think there's something going on so that he can go ahead and pursue it. And then there's a youth protection hotline that you can call. And you can go to youthprotection@kiwanis.org to get more information. But basically, you just want to make sure that you don't let things get out of hand. You're not going to get in trouble because you think you saw a burn mark on somebody. You thought you saw a scar that was being left, and you weren't sure that it wasn't just from an accident. If you think that there's something going on, it's better to go ahead and let somebody else know about it. Let those individuals, though professionals, get involved and track it down. And then if they find out there's nothing going on, no big deal. If they do, you just help somebody. Okay. You don't know unless you try to do something about it. Sometimes we don't think about the individual who actually saw something going on. They can be just as traumatized as the person to whom that act was being committed. And sometimes that's because the witness is also feeling shame or guilt because they did not report it. And that could be one of us. And we need to be aware of that. Okay, we are not investigators, we are not a judge, but we do need to be accountable and make sure that we stay within a certain, maintain that confidentiality. It shouldn't be something that gets spread out to everybody. We want to make sure that it goes through the right connections before it gets announced. All right, so this is something that when we're doing like the Key Leader Weekend, we need to have background checks on with at least one adult per 50 youth. That's just for a day thing because we're not spending the night. We're not having to get into a lot of those intimate situations. Overnight events, we got to have one adult that has had a background check for every 10 youth. So Judge, how many does that mean we need to have for the Key Leader Weekend at least? Yeah. That's right. So we need at least 5 if we're expecting to have 50 kids out there. And it also needs to make sure that we have the right balance as far as male and female adults because this is co-ed. And understand that when you're out there, I'm not sure how the cabins are situated at the new facility, but you're going to have male youth in one building, you'll have female youth in another building, and then the chaperones will be separated as well into separate buildings, but still being able to maintain some vigilance as to what's going on. When we're dealing with our SLPs, what stands for what, Frank? Student Leadership Programs, right. We need to have at least 2 adults that are there. Normally at the schools, since we're going to be having that training tomorrow, at the schools you're going to have a faculty advisor, and then you might be called in to help out with something. And normally at the schools, they've got to have more than 1 adult as present already. So you're usually covered there. Again, by having multiple adults, it kind of cuts out the possibility of things going sideways. Always want to stay where everybody can see you. If you have an issue where a youth is causing a problem or whatever, and you need to discuss it with them, make sure that if it's got to be a private discussion, you still have the door open where somebody can see you. You don't want to be behind a closed door or have anything blocking you. Make sure that someone else can see so that you have witnesses. And don't touch them. As much as you may want to put your hands on them, don't do it. When it comes to social media, this is where it gets a little tricky sometimes because, you know, you have somebody who you want to follow, they invite you to be a part of their Facebook group, or probably not Facebook for young people, it's going to be, you know, what other ones? Snapchat, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. But make sure that, you know, I always try to avoid that. You know, it's just not a good idea. Make sure that, and the kids need to understand this too, a lot of times social media posts, when you say something, it's not going away. No matter how much you try to delete something or whatever, in most cases it's going to be there someplace, and it's going to be open to almost anybody else to see. And it's something they also need to be made aware of, that when it comes to applying for another job sometime, employers also have access to Facebook posts and Instagram posts and Snap. You know, this can affect them all the way down the line, so be very careful with that. Make sure that if you're using photos, just like when we're doing Key Leader Weekend, there is a permission that's either given in order to be able to post images for this sort of thing. And always go by the rule of 3. Always make sure that if you've got to email a youth, that somebody else, a parent or some other adult, is on there as well. Make sure you have accessible training and resources like this, and there are online methods for going through youth protection guidelines and training. Background checks. We do have background checks through Kiwanis. It's like $35 to go through it. John, I'm not sure what our policy is now as far as helping to cover the cost of some of that. Are we doing that or no?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So make a donation. It's good for 2 years, so that means you don't have to have to do it every year, but it's good to go through it and make sure that you have that taken care of. And it's not as extensive as some of the other ones. Like it takes forever to go through, like Boys and Girls Club and other kinds of things to get those background checks. They're talking $80 to $100. So it's not very expensive, but it is worthwhile to get that taken care of. And the way to do that is to make sure you let Rita or myself or John or somebody know that you need to get that done so that you can get the invitation to take the training. And C is the culture of care, just making sure we're preventing bullying. What is meant by being an upstander? There's a difference between being a bystander and an upstander. Can you think of what it might be?
Stick up for somebody.
Okay, right. Don't just see it going on and not do anything about it. Do something. If you see somebody being bullied, step in. If you can't step in because you're afraid you're going to get bullied too, find somebody else who can step in for you. But don't just let it go. If you think that somebody is having issues with their mental health, make sure that you get them the resources so that they can follow up on that. Healthy communications is not just picking on people and so forth. Be proactive, be encouraging, and respect boundaries. And that's it. Anything else we need to ask about it? Perfect. I like that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mac. So we're gonna watch the video that Mac put together for last year, but in the meantime, we're gonna change gears and we'd like to recognize all the people who gave to the foundation last year. Most of them through the Dave Bassett Challenge, but there's a few people who actually gave money before that. So we were gonna hand out ribbons to everybody, but Cheryl and Lou were so efficient that most of you have already gotten your ribbon attached to your badges. So if you already have a green ribbon, awesome. I'm still gonna read, I'll just read through the list. If you're here, please stand up so we can recognize you. And if you don't have a ribbon, please come see Dave and get one. You want to hand up ribbons, Dave? All right, first we have Sharon Barhorst. Michael Bear. Betsy Benak. Bruce Body. Patty Bosco. Ed Cleveland. I think Ed's sick today. Angel Colonesso. Carlos de Quesada. No Carlos today. Scott Farrington. Don't see Scott today either. Lori Fox. Rich Fred. Bob Goss. Judge Gould. Charlie Hackney. Christy Haley. Jay Hoffmeister. Wayne Lemura. Andy Miner. I think Andy snuck out already. Myself. I got one. Judge Nicholas. Brett Pollock. Juliana Ross. Tom Rovnak. Judge Smith. Don Stanhope. Dr. Timsworth. Lou Unger. Neil Unruh. John Vita. And last but not least, and most importantly, Dave Bassett.
Thank you, Dave.
Mac Aldridge. Did we forget Mac Aldridge? How did Mac get left off? Oh my goodness. Anyone else who's given to the foundation this year that did not get recognized? All right, well, thank you, everyone. We had over 30 people, so that's fantastic. And thank you again, Dave, for doing the match. What did we end up with, Mac? Almost 24,000, I think, with the 10,000 from Dave. So
Yeah,
let's just
almost 25,000.
almost 25,000. So awesome. Thank you, everyone. All right, you ready to roll in the video, Mac?
Some folks say there ain't no bears in Arkansas, and some folks never seen a bear at all. Some folks say the bears go around eating babies raw, and some folks got a bear across the hall. Some folks say the bears go around smelling bad, others say that a bear is a honey sweet. Some folks say this bear's the best I ever had, and some folks got a bear beneath their feet. Some folks drive the bears out of the wilderness, and some to see a bear will pay a fee. And me, I just bear up to my bewildered best, and some folks even see the bear in me. Drive the bears out of the wilderness, and some to see a bear will pay a fee. For me, I just bear up to my bewildered best, and some folks even seen the bear in me. So meet a bear and take him on out to lunch with you, even though your friends may stop and stare. Remember, that's a bear there in the bunch with you, and they just don't come no better than a bear. So meet a bear and take him on out to lunch with you, even though your friends may stop and stare. And just remember, that's a bear there in the bunch with you, and they just don't come no better than a bear. Some folks say there ain't no bears in Arkansas. And some folks never seen a bear at all. Some folks say the bears go around eating babies raw. And some folks got a bear across the hall. Some folks say the bears go around smelling bad. Others say that a bear is a honey sweet. And some folks say this bear's the best I ever had. And some folks got a bear beneath their feet. Some folks drive the bears out of the wilderness. And some to see a bear will pay a fee. And me, I just bear up to my bewildered best. And some folks even see the bear in me. Drive the bears out of the wilderness. Some to see a bear would pay a fee. For me, I just bear up.
Let's give Mac a round of applause for that awesome video. Who knew there was a song about a bear? And let's also give a big round of applause to Mike Bear for a fantastic year.
Worth of activities and events that this college participated in less than 10.5 minutes.
Awesome, thank you guys. All right, so thank you everyone for coming today. Please join us next week. Our speaker will be Emily Lacaze from Suncoast Searchlight, so that should be interesting. All right, hope everyone has a wonderful week. Meeting adjourned.